Hello, welcome back to Body and Beyond. I am your host, Catarina Orr-Evans, and today we're going to dive into quantum physics. I've been talking a lot about this in my stories this week, so if you've been around in my stories on IG, you knew this was coming, but this is something that I have been diving into recently, and I'm just studying it, so I am not going to sit here and say I'm an expert in it, but understanding these theories, understanding these principles, and really diving into the quantum field has changed a lot of perspectives for me. And one of which you might not expect is I had a really long time fear of death. And sometimes that fear of death still creeps up a little bit and gets to me because I just do love this world so much. I love life. I love nature. I love the plants I'm looking at right now. I love the trees. I love being outside. I love the sun on me. I have always said that I'm somebody that's very attached to this physical realm and this experience because honestly, like, I just love life. I love life. I love living in it. Tend to have this very optimistic view of everything always works out for me, that everything is just great. I remember my mom telling me at times, like, you need to snap back into reality. Everything's not always like rainbows and butterflies. And I'm like, why not? Why not? Why can't that be my reality? So this conversation today might have you think very differently and it's going to land for you. And the fact that you're here right now says something that you are perceiving this, that you are dropping into this because nothing is at random. That is probably the concept you're going to get across from here is that nothing is completely random. There is a very intelligent design working underneath at all times. So, let's jump into this. Essentially, quantum physics is the study of the fundamental behavior of matter and energy at the smallest particles, such as atoms and subatomic particles. Essentially, you can see this as the field of how the universe works. I mean, literally. So, you might not recognize how this study, quantum physics, has been weaved into the world that we live in today, but the modern technology that we see today with the creation of LED lights, MRIs, lasers, and even atomic clocks that our smartphones and GPS are going off of. So many electronics are going off of that. That is actually based on this concept we're going to talk to you today about the theories within quantum physics. So it has been integrated into our world and science and technology, but that's not the whole picture, and we're missing how these concepts and theories can be applied to whole body healing and wellness, and it's not what's happening in our modern and conventional medicine frame. Modern medicine tends to see as like you have a thyroid issue and it's just your thyroid, or you have an appendix issue and it is just that, whereas alternative medicine has really seen, and all across ancient cultures and ancient medicine, is that the body is connected. We see it in an Eastern philosophy. We see it in the Native Americans, and we're starting to see it become more and more common here in the Western world, but we're still behind. Every other ancient culture has seen healing as a full body, and full body meaning all the bodies that we are. So your vital, your energetic body, your emotional body, your physical body, like what we're actually in, the vessel we're in right now, and even higher states of consciousness and beyond. So quantum physics isn't new. It's integrated into some of our modern world, but not in the extent that we would like to see it. But this also gives us a chance to be able to continue to bring these concepts into how we approach healing the body as of now and for future healing for us. So yeah, it basically started in 1900s with this man named Max Planck. And I don't know if I'm pronouncing the last name right, but the way that it's spelled out looks like it's pronounced Planck. And as you guys all know, Einstein, these were essentially the beginning founding scientists that were starting to question the classical physics models and theories that Newton proposed and things like that. They were like, something's missing, and I think we need to go a heck of a lot deeper. And that's where these people became pioneers of the field we know today of quantum physics. So brilliant people. Einstein, he's famous for E equals MC squared. There's actually so many quotes that he has that he just was, honestly, I don't even know if you could say ahead of his time. I think you're going to be able to like break down that a little bit after this whole conversation, but he was on to the truth, okay? And then there was somebody else named Broglie and Heisenberg. Some of you might know the name Heisenberg as well. These people eventually came up with the theories that we know today in quantum physics. So the way I've read these theories, I've been able to break them down into very simple concept, able to be digested and understood, because that's how I need to do it, right? Sometimes I have to read things and be like, okay, how do I make this simple so that I understand? And then when I understand the concept, I can break and go back to like expand it, right? It's like I need to like subtract it and then I can add back in. So yeah, essentially everything around you is quantum physics. It is the foundations and it is the law of the universe. So these are just brilliant, brilliant things. So the first theory that I'm going to present to you is what is called the wave-particle duality. Even in its name, you can pick up what it is. Matter is both wave or frequency and particle and matter. So everything in our world is made of energy and matter. And yeah, essentially, Albert Einstein famously said E equals mc squared. All matter is simply compressed energy. So I take something like this right now and I can look at it and I can see in my current reality right now that this is something physical. I can hold it. It is tangible. And it also, if you break it down at its deepest levels, there is space between, and that is where energy lives, and that is its frequency. And actually, crystals is a great example because this actually does emit a frequency. You do too. Think of it as your heart. We do scans on your heart to pick up the frequency of your heart, okay? So there's essentially these two worlds. There's the hidden wave of possibility. In our world, we experience things as particles. So if you want to break this down, there's two worlds in this wave-particle duality. There's this physical world that we live in, that we can touch, that's tangible, that we're currently experiencing right now. And there's also another world that is invisible, but it has an infinite amount of possibilities for you. Okay? Let's break this down a little bit more. The observer effect comes into play with this, right? So duality is we are both. We are both matter and we are frequency. The observer effect is the ability to collapse a wave of possibility. Again, imagine this wave of possibility is infinite possibilities for you. You can't see them, but they're there. They're there and they're here and they're current right now, and even maybe some light years away. The observer effect essentially means a choice is made and it collapses the infinite wave of possibilities into what we experience as our current reality. So a choice is made that collapses and pulls something into existence and what we feel and experience right now. It's not always a choice of like logically thinking of what you think, but it's something that you can embody. It's something that you embody or an intention that you set, which is why if you've ever done energy work, intention is at the beginning. I just recorded a video to share later on my Instagram about how I kind of go through the steps to energy test, whether that's using a pendulum, whether that's using the sway test. And the first thing we do before we actually test our energy, the subconscious terrain of us, is setting an intention. Same thing with the cards, the oracle cards that I use. What do? I set an intention. I set a question, something that I'm directly bringing in from the waves of possibility and coming down in here. I'm looking for something specific to bring into my current reality. So it's not always just what you were thinking, it's what you embody, because remember, we have a frequency within us. We are both matter and frequency. So if you're thinking about, for example, you're thinking about improving your health and you're like, I want to have better health. I want to have a clear mind. I want to have a clear body. I want to be more present in my world and in my life and not be riddled with like chronic pain and chronic symptoms. You want this like version of health, right? You're thinking about it, but you're currently living and making choices right now in a very stressed or rushed state. Your body is aligning with that frequency, being rushed, being heightened, being on the go, putting your self-care last, or even to like the week from now, 2 weeks from now, 5 weeks from now, right? And not aligning with the frequency of what you desire. The hardest lesson that I've been learning recently and the depths of my healing journey has been with, number one, setting intentions and calling in what I choose to experience. And I've been doing this a lot with money. And it's just been brought to my eyes so much that it's like we can call in money in abundance all we want. And it doesn't have to be money, right? We can call in abundance for being able to look at more of the beauty in the world, right? Look at how abundant it actually is, especially in a dark world we're living in now. I'm going to talk about that later. But it's essentially we need to align with what we're actually wanting to call in. And so even if it's abundance, even if it's money, we need to stop thinking of scarcity and seeing everything as fearful and operating out of this like scarcity mindset. Instead, starting to shift and setting intentions or being aware of where abundance is all around us and starting to align with that frequency. And this is where embodiment, embodying what you actually want, even if you're not having it right now, embodiment can be already making choices and choosing to live your life with the version that you want to be. So if I want to be this person that is at the peak of my health and I have all this like goodness within me, I'm always operating out of kindness and love, then I need to start showing up as that version and I need to start embodying that personality, that person, that version of myself that I actually want to be and start calling that in because I'm starting to align myself with who that person is and how she shows up. And this is something that I will do with my clients in our work together. I'll ask the question of, who is the version that you actually want to be? What is she doing? What does she look like? What is she feeling like? And so they can get crystal clear. I'm like, crystal clear. So they can get crystal clear on how they can begin to make small steps, not huge leaps, small steps and starting to show up as that version of themselves they actually want to be. And most of us, that version that we actually want to be is our higher self. And a lot of people are mirrors around you for the version of yourself that you actually want to be. Even though it can turn you away and you're like, oh no, that person's cringe. There's a part of you that actually wishes you could show up in your life that way. Period. Anyways, so embodiment is actually the bridge between intention and reality. So you're putting all these pieces together, right? Setting an intention, but then embodiment, and it can become your reality. So Albert Einstein, with his famous E equals MC squared, aka all matter is simply compressed energy. We, humans, are not just this like meat slab that is like nothing to it. It's all mechanical. We're basically like a car. You could just take each part out and we operate individually. No, we are energetic beings. And a lot of people are forgetting that we are energetic beings in their healing journey. They're so focused on the physical, protocols, the labs, the supplements. I'm doing it all right, blah, blah, blah. But you're forgetting that you are an energetic being. Your intention matters. The way you show up for yourself matters. How you speak to yourself matters. The frequency around you matters. What kind of music are you listening to? What kind of people are around you? The environment that you live in. All of that can impact you because you are an energetic being. And this is why the foundation, I'm going to do you know how some podcasts have a like advertisement pop in? Here's my advertisement popped in. I have a program right now that is a one-on-one program called Inner Detox Glow. And the reason I'm dropping this as my ad in here is because the very first thing that we're doing in this program is working on our energy first. That is my process, energy first. And how we do that is by balancing our minerals. And we do that by getting a little hair sample, taking it to a lab and doing an HTMA to find out what our specific and individual mineral patterns are. And I have this unique lens of looking at your lab results from an HTMA and being able to look at the physical imbalances and ratios between minerals, calcium, magnesium, sodium, potassium, but also what these minerals represent in a metaphysical realm. So emotional patterns. What does a high calcium mean? What does a high sodium to potassium mean? And I'm able to look at those from like a physical perspective and a metaphysical perspective and bring that to you so that we not just like balance your minerals within the physical realm, but you're also able to sit and start to dive into for yourself of what those metaphysical patterns mean for you. So we are truly integrating your whole self, your physical body, your emotional body, your spiritual body, and your energetic body, because minerals are the spark plugs to life. Minerals are energy. They're how we produce energy. And when we have depletions and we have imbalances of those, everything is off. Your hormone production is off. Your ability to keep showing up and pursuing your work and your life in this like go manner. Minerals are how we create and produce energy. The ability to detox effectively begins from our cells, aka mitochondrial damage. I talked about this in my previous episode, MTHFR. I went into all of that. So many things. The ability for us to regulate our blood sugar, the ability for us to receive and take in good things. If we're talking about the cell from a physical lens, what about a metaphysical lens? What about your ability to be open to life? What about your ability to receive love and give love? So, yeah, minerals are our ability to have more energetic boundaries, to be closed off to things that don't serve us, to protect our energy and to protect our peace. When you are depleted, you are taken advantage of. When you are depleted, you are more reactive and you're not operating out of your highest self. You're operating out of a lower frequency and you're going to continue to attract that in your world. And this is why it's a foundational thing in my practice is to start with energy first, because that's how we begin to create everything downstream from there. So pitching this to you right now, Inner Detox Flow is open right now. We are launching a 6-month one-on-one coaching container with me where we go through the process of an energy first, rebalancing our minerals. We go through opening our drainage pathways and starting to clear things so that the energy we've created has the ability to flow through you. And then we work on your gut and your microbiome, your liver, your bile flow. And then we dive into deeper rooted detox support like parasite cleansing. So we go through this whole approach to do some deeper level detox, which we all need in this world right now. So anyways, reach out to me or drop a comment in here, Inner Detox, and I will send you more information about it. Okay, dropping back into this first theory of wave particle duality. So it can kind of prove a little bit into like an afterlife. Matter can never be created or destroyed. So this was something that helped me remove a lot of that fear, and I'm still unpacking it and unraveling it as well, but it doesn't hit me so deeply as it used to, that if we are not just this physical body, we're also this energetic body, and matter can never be created or destroyed. Energy never ends. It goes through phases of creation, transformation, and competition, and then it repeats again. It's a cycle. It never ends. And we are energy. We're energetic beings. So we never end. There might be parts of us that disintegrate and that go, but there is an energy of us that moves through cycles and seasons. And so this theory, and honestly, all of the theories have proved that if we are energetic beings, then matter can never be created or destroyed. And so I have grown to have so much more trust because I'm also somebody that does love science. I do love studies. I do love finding evidence. Okay. I do love having that evidence. And so this is something that has been studied and is theorized. Yes, theories are meant to be questions and they're constantly being researched, but this is something that really did change perspectives for me and help unravel and kind of lessen a fear that had been taken over for me, where as a little girl, I used to cry at night thinking that everything was just going to close out, like turning off the TV. And so now I have a much different lens and view on this as well. So that was a lot from the first theory. But the next theory is I kind of grouped these ones together: tangled hierarchy, non-locality, and discontinuity. These broken down is essentially the interconnectedness of all things. This one's so beautiful, guys. This one will just make your heart sink in. You're just going to have this all radiating from you. So essentially, this is like the waves of possibility meet and get connected, meaning we have one functional wave, even if they move really far apart, even if they move light years away. The lower affects a higher level, or what I like to say that just makes the most sense to me is as above, so below, as below, so above. There is a connectedness across everything and even waves that connect and meet. So this theory, these three bundled together, really breaks the illusion of separatedness. And this is big. And this is big in this world. And I'm going to drop some truth bombs here. This dissolves the illusion of separatedness, and it brings in the law of the universe, quite literally meaning one song. It's written in the word itself, universe, one song. We are not separate. My thyroid is not separate from my liver. My liver is not separate from my emotions. So you see where I'm going. I am not separate from the plants here. I am not separate from nature that is living and alive. I am not separate from you or your neighbor or your neighbor's neighbor and somebody all the way over across the world. We are all interconnected. And what we are doing in one realm is impacting another realm. This is deep. Seeing different races, family, culture, religion, etc. continues to draw constant conflict and confusion because it's going against the actual law of the universe, the one song, the interconnectedness of us all. Are you getting this? Are you sitting on this? Are you sinking into what I'm saying right now? There has been so much, I'm going to pause, I'm going to step back for a moment. There's been so much chaos in my social media when I go on, especially Facebook, you know? Some people might be like, why you've been so quiet about everything going on in the world? Because it's so fucking loud. It is so loud. And I don't want to be another voice in this chaos, because also I've been really reflecting on this aspect and how this all ties in together is you see the disconnection everywhere. We see the mind-body disconnection everywhere. We're seeing it played out in nature as well too, not just in our own bodies, but in nature. Okay, so I have stepped back because I'm going to work on protecting my peace and protecting my space. That's what I have to say about that. But those of you that want to fight and you want to say that, well, that person's wrong and that person's wrong, and I think this way, guess what, baby? We all see a different view. We all see a different view. So what's the point? What is the point in arguing? What is the point in jumping on somebody's page and commenting and keyboard warrior? What is the point? What is your point? And I know it's not just you, and it goes up and above and above and beyond you because it's happening collectively. And we have leaders above us that are driving a lot of division. We have a lot of shit happening and boiling under the surface, and as above, so below, right? And this is just continuing to drive us to be more and more confused. This is why, again, I go back to why this work that I do with my clients is so fucking important. The whole, just even the first step of the work together of balancing our minerals and closing off the gaps in our minerals and getting ourselves out of burnout and depletion is for this right here, to protect our peace, to protect our space, to not fall into this disconnectedness, this dysregulation, this arguing back and forth, this like pointing fingers and like, this is the way, that's not the way, fuck you, fuck you. And when you actually work on healing your body from the cell and up, you can close off your spaces to that. You can step out of that. You can be able to be like, that is not for me. I'm going to be protecting my space and protecting my peace. And I'm going to work on what I'm working on in my world right here. And when you work on your minerals and you shift your state, you shift yourself out of this frequency and you shift yourself out of this space and you see the interconnectedness, you can start to see the light. And you don't fall into this shit. This has brought about pollution, destruction, imbalance of nature, the political disaster, overpopulation, worldwide economic disaster, and an overall environment that is neither physically, mentally, emotionally, or spiritually for us who live in it. This has equally led to the widespread of hopelessness and despair. How many of you are seeing what's going on in the news and you just feel so helpless? Yeah, that's a very real experience for a lot of people. And this is what I'm seeing collectively. So I'm going to step back in after I went on a rant for a second, but this is the interconnectedness of our organs and parts, as well as of even you light years away, and maybe you in another universe, because it doesn't matter the distance between these particles, they are connected. And this is also where quantum leaping can come into play. I don't know if anybody's heard about people quantum leaping or somebody calling a quantum leap or saying that they had a quantum leap. This happens because A plus B, and I'm going to break this one down, A plus B does not always equal C. Sometimes there is a jump when A plus B leads all the way to Z, and this is the observer effect. The observer effect that pulls a different reality into their field where it seems like spontaneous healing can occur, or the things that you want actually come into play. And you're like, how did that happen? What happened from this aspect of quantum leaping is the observer effect of pulling something into your field, collapsing it, pulling it into your reality. That is quantum leaping. All right, are we ready for the next one? The next theory is consciousness is at the ground or the center of all things. So I'm going to recap here real quick. We have that we are energetic beings. We have the observer effect. That means essentially there's an infinite amount of waves of possibilities. And the observer, or whoever chooses, pulls it into their reality. We also have the interconnectedness of us all and the universal law of we are one. And now we dive into consciousness is at the ground of all things. And this one, consciousness is not exactly your intelligence or your thinking or your mind, like your mind brain. It is a universal awareness and energy. This could be called a universal consciousness, which can prove that there is one higher power, creator, or God, however you want to see it, for which all things, material substances, are made and interconnected. This is truly universal, connecting all pieces and parts of the universe. It is the ultimate source of all energy. We are all connected, so we all share this universal consciousness, which means it's all within us and that there is a center, a one creator and source of all energy. Let that sink in. And so this one is deep. And for me, I'm going to share something that I actually haven't voiced like publicly before, but I have really not liked how when I pray to God, in my mind, I see a white man. And I believe that was from my upbringing of being taught the Trinity and like seeing that like Jesus is this like white man and that Jesus is also God. And so when I would pray to God, or like even now, I think of God or I pray to God or I talk to God, I can't help it, but there is this white man's image that pulls up in my brain and it's just there. And I've been really wanting to remove that and get rid of that because that is not the truth for me, even though that's something that pulls up automatically for me. And so when I am talking to God, what I really started to do and a perspective shift for me is speaking to universe. And I know some people are going to have some issues with saying, well, why don't you just say God? Well, you're not me and you don't live in my experience. And I personally don't like to see a white man when I am talking to God. So when I say universe, or I start to think when I'm speaking to God and I tie it to universe, when I say the word universe, I just think of this infinite, this long, this like ever ending like space and time. And it's all like that has helped me begin to unravel that white man image that I see that I don't actually believe is the truth. So my perspective that I had is just kind of shifting the words that I use that I have in my history and my experience have an attachment to that I'm trying to like unravel. So when I say universe or I say creator, those words help me connect more with what I believe is true for me, with what God is. And so I can connect more closely with that energy than the one that I feel a little bit more disconnected with, of seeing the image of a white man. So that's just me. So going into this last theory, this is that everything operates by way of downward causation. And so this essentially means is everything is affected from the consciousness, remember that universal consciousness I talked about, moving down into the manifestation of the material. So it literally pulls from consciousness, the supramental, the mental body, the field or the vital body, the energy body, and into the physical. So it comes from a downward approach. The easiest way to wrap up this one is everything is affected from a consciousness moving down into the manifestation of the material. And so what this means, and I think this is a really good aspect to lean into for like your physical healing journey, is that when you have pain or an issue in one area of your body, it's important to look up upstream and see what is connected that your physical body is manifesting, because it doesn't just manifest in here in this physical body, it is coming from above. And so we really need to work with the healing body of, yes, approaching this physical body. We want to support her. We want to love on her. We want to give her the nourishment, love, and healing that she needs. But we also need to find where the source is that this was just dropped in and manifested into the body. Because of this principle of downward causation, we need to work in all the realms of healing and supporting the physical body and the metaphysical. And for me, when I say metaphysical, I'm meaning everything outside of the physical body. So how can we take all of these theories and what does this mean for you? What does this mean for all of us? And this kind of goes back to what I mentioned in the beginning, is this can explain how alternative medicine or integrative medicine has known and understood the connectedness of the mind, body, and spirit that is truly healing the total self. And this is why we say to heal the total self, we need to include all parts of you. That is all bodies of you. That is all states, right? Everything that I just mentioned in here. These approaches have long stood and are ancient, and you have to wonder why they are ancient and why they're still existing here today. Traditional Chinese medicine, acupuncture. I go to acupuncture. That is still existing here today, and that is an ancient practice. Why? Because they know. Because they know the truth. Native Americans understood how the sacredness of land and how connected we all are to the land, that we are one with the land. They were also very connected to spirits and spiritual energies around them. and one another. So through the principles of quantum physics, we can explain and see how ancient traditions such as traditional Chinese medicine, Ayurvedic medicine, homeopathy, and naturopathy work with the body's subtle energy systems such as qi, prana, or vital force energy. The future of healing is integrative. It is holistic, it's whole self, and it's weaving alternative and allopathic therapies together. So I hope you take away from this that everything is a frequency. You have a frequency and you can embody, you can call in the frequency or that of what you want to be your current reality by aligning your body with that version of yourself or that energy you want to call in and setting intentions on it. Be clear, be direct, start speaking in ways that call in what you want to have, whether that's a meditation practice, a journaling practice, whether that is just time, a little self-care space to yourself where you directly talk with higher power and you say, I'm calling this in, thank you. Or you just start to be more aware and present in your life to the things that you actually want, whether that's abundance or money or health or vitality or happiness. Can you find it? Can you start to pull that in and speak it into your current existence? Can you start taking action and even little small steps into the version of yourself that you want to be or the thing that you actually want to have? You want to heal your body. You want to improve your health. You want to work through your inflammation. You want to clear up your gut. You want to feel better. You want your hormones to be better. You want to have this like vitality or this like bad bitch energy through life where you're like, I'm not fazed by that. I'm not fazed by that. I'm leading with love and I'm leading with light. Well, call that in and start making choices and decisions on that thing you actually want. When you align with the frequency of the vitality you desire for breath, nourishment, movement, thought, intention, meditation, you name it, you become a living field of that energy. Healing isn't forcing your body to change. It's aligning, it's attuning, and it's embodying the reality that it's already available for you right now in the quantum field. It's already here for you. This is why in my website, if you guys go to it and say the health and healing that you actually want is already here for you. You just need to step in. You just need to choose. And that, my friends, is the observer effect. So thank you guys for joining me on this episode. I know this one was a little bit of like, woo! And this is why I say woo is actually truth. Woo-woo is all around us. It is you and it's me. So if you're somebody that's opposed to woo-woo, sorry, this isn't the space for you because everything is woo-woo. So subscribe to this channel, leave a comment, let me know how this episode landed for you. And if you want to learn more about my inner detox program and grab your seat into this space to unravel your healing together, going from the cell and up, leave me a comment below or there will be a link in the show notes where you can join. And right now there is a bonus. If you make a one-time payment to join the program, you will get instantly my 3-day course, Hot Girl Healing, which is over our thyroid, over our voice and sharing our truth, and it connects to our throat chakra. So I dive into all that and give you instant access to that. All right, bye. See you on the next episode.